So, in case you haven't heard, we've got a new president. Turns out the election was real. Trump lost, Biden's in. So, over the last 4 years, there's been something in the air. You can feel it. The anxiety, the racism, the good old boys bubbling to the top. Basically, America is what we're feeling. And if you didn't see it, if you didn't feel it, it's because you live in a place where you don't have to. And that's okay. Because I live in a place where I don't have to feel things either. I mean, if I were to follow a few women around for a couple days, not next to them, but just in the same room, there are things that would happen to them that I wouldn't see. There are looks they would receive, comments probably made that I wouldn't see. Doesn't mean it didn't happen, it just means I didn't see it. So I want to tell you about the very first time, or actually the only time, I was ever made to feel less than. The only time I feel really ashamed to be black. So it wasn't when someone called me a nigger. That's happened plenty of times, gotten plenty of fights over it. Not that. It wasn't when the principal pulled me up in class and searched me because a teacher thought a girl gave me weed. So he pulled me in front of the class and made me empty my pockets and sort of patted me down. I was more annoyed, a little bit embarrassed, but never ashamed. And it was not when I was in West Virginia and came out of a bar and got jumped by 5 good old boys. They wanted to beat up the nigger that night. The kid I was with ended up getting hit in the head with a brick or a piece of the street, ended up in the hospital. That wasn't it. So maybe my junior or senior year of high school, in class, the teacher was doing a project, or basically what we're going to do is we're going to bring in some food from our nation of origin. And where I grew up in Endicott, New York, there's a lot of people from Italy and Spain and Russia, and people who are Polish and Greek, and people take great pride in where they're from. So I basically told the teacher, well, it's going to be kind of hard for me because I have no idea where I'm from. Folks came over in slave ships and got shipped here and there, and no one really knows. So she said to me, and I quote, "Well, just bring some grits. Just bring some grits." And really, I heard what she said, and the class heard what she said. They didn't hear what she meant. What she meant was, your origin is some fucking slave quarters in Mississippi. She meant that you are less than. She meant that your classmates come from places with great culture and food and significance. You, Walter, are less than. You come from some rundown shack of a slave quarter in Mississippi. So at the time, I remember having this visceral reaction of wanting to throw up, wanting to cry, wanting to grab that bitch and shake the shit out of her. To shake the damn life out that bitch while crying, while throwing up on her face. That's how I felt. But I couldn't. I couldn't cry. I couldn't throw up. I couldn't smack the shit out of that bitch. I couldn't do anything. I had to just sit there and take it. In front of my classmates, I had to sit there and just take it. That's the only time I truly, truly felt bad to be who I was at the hands of a teacher. So my point is if that happens in front of all my classmates and they thought nothing of it, and I highly doubt any of them saw it, it happens every day. That happens every single day. Just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not happening. There's someone at work that's being made to feel uncomfortable. There's someone in school that you're making feel less than, or that you're standing by while they're being made to feel less than. I guess it's one thing if you don't realize it or know it. It's another thing that if you do realize that you just sort of stand there. I think one makes you an asshole, but it happens every day. And as I have gotten older and as I'm sort of doing this, I realize there's people that I've grown up with and people that I know that some are not capable of understanding. I think they're not capable of understanding. Others, I know they're not capable of caring. So while there is a new regime, Biden's in, Trump's out, over time, the pro-Trump extremists that, think Hitler had a pretty good business model or mission statement, they'll recede back into the shadows, but it's not gone. It's still there. So just food for thought. Things are happening every day that you can't see. And just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not happening. It's just not happening to you.